still on mute there. Hello folks, I'm joined by Ballygunner hurler Pauric Mahony for launch of this year's AIB GA All-Ireland Club Championship. This season AIB will honour #the toughest players in Gaelic games, those who persevere no matter what, given their all for the club and community. AIB is celebrating its 11th year as proud sponsors of the AIB Camogie Club Championship and its 33rd year over the AIB Club Championships. Pauric, how are you? You well?
All good, Shane, yourself?
Not too bad. It's the usual routine for you. Just another Munster Club campaign, no big deal.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that now. It's I suppose it's a year on since our last game in the Munster Club, so it's certainly plenty of time to build up the hunger and the appetite to go again.
Would you believe it? I was just looking up the stats there, and you can trust Wikipedia, obviously, but you've been the championship top scorer in Munster for the last 4 years in a row. Did you know that?
I suppose when you're hitting dead balls, that probably has a lot to do with that as well now, but I didn't know that. But yeah,
it's a nice one.
It is what it is.
Yeah. So you've had that long break. You're used to it at this stage. Probably do a few challenge matches around the circuit or whatever. All set to go again, I suppose.
Yeah. I suppose it's at this stage, like you said, it's kind of we've done it the last couple of years where you had that kind of 7 or 8 week gap between county final and quarter final of Munster. So I suppose we managed it okay the last couple of years, so we've done something different this year. But look, as you know yourself, that's not to say we're going to hit the ground running in 2 weeks' time. We still need to bring out our best on the day. So, but yeah, we're happy with how the last number of weeks have gone so far.
Yeah, and how much have you been keeping an eye on clubs? Do you fanatically sort of watch club games up and down the country, even when you're not playing?
I probably do, to be fair. It's just if they're on the telly, whether it's TG4 or a few on Clover here and there, and obviously the RT have a couple of games as well. So, whatever the sport is, whether it's hurling, soccer, Gaelic, rugby, golf, you name it, I'll be watching it. So, more as a supporter than kind of with a keen interest on maybe who you could be playing or whatnot.
Yeah, is there any in particular sports that you really gravitate towards outside of hurling?
I suppose Liverpool drive me insane from time to times. That and obviously the golf as well. I suppose from playing and from watching it, I'd say the golf it's on a nice times. I suppose when you're kind of sitting down on the couch on whether it's Thursday to Sunday at 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening watching one of the competitions over in the US. So like watching the golf too.
Yeah, would you get over to Liverpool often to watch games?
I suppose before COVID, we probably got around it where it was nearly over every year. But then, I suppose the way the seasons have been with the hurling, then it's kind of gone one to the other. I haven't really got that opportunity the last couple of years, but now that I have a bit more time in my hands, maybe start planning a few more trips.
And do you think Liverpool can get back on top this year, or what do you think?
It's hard to know. I suppose with the new midfield line, it's going to take time to kind of, I suppose, settle, and obviously they kind of seem a bit exposed at the back line too. Not that I know a whole lot about it at the moment, but yeah, I think they have, I suppose, the bit of work still to be done. They're probably missing one or two kind of defensive midfielders or whatnot, but we'll see. To be fair, City maybe aren't as hitting the same heights maybe as last year, so there's probably an open there for someone if they take it.
What about the golf though? Would you have watched the Ryder Cup big time this year? I have to be honest, I gave up after a day and a half and it seemed like USA.
Yeah, I did. I would have watched the majority of the Ryder Cup, to be fair. I suppose again it's like once every couple of years where it's a team kind of sport on the golf front. It's kind of good, and to be fair to the Europeans, they really embrace it every year that they're in it. And I think, look, I think obviously after the first, everyone thought they were going to run away, and obviously then there was a stage there on a Sunday with the results and the singles that you were thinking, gee, they mightn't be home yet, but yeah, it was good entertainment, I have to say.
And what do you play off?
I play off 6.4 at the moment, so it's kind of fluctuating a bit, but hopefully now next summer we'll be able to get down a bit lower.
Yeah, and would you have played many particularly good courses, or do you just play a few locally, or?
I know, to be fair, we try and get around as much as possible. To obviously Mount Juliet has been only up the road, and Bunclody is a lovely track. I guess as well now with the new kind of motorway there, it's only maybe 45-50 minutes away. And then we've kind of done a few around. We would have gone down to a few down in Kerry there a few years back. We would have played Waterville, Ballygunner, so there's a few good courts obviously down there. So yeah, I'd say the pick up now Waterville down in Kerry would be the best I've played in Ireland anyways.
And have you played with any? Who's the best player you ever played with? Any like famous people that you might have played with?
No, jeez. I say the best two players. I'd say Brian O'Sullivan. He's off scratch, and Paul Flynn obviously is a serious golfer too. Scratch. He's even +1 or 2, I think. So we're playing him there at the start of this year, all right, for up Mount Juliet. But would have played with Robin Dawson actually as well. Robin's been on the European tour and whatnot, so Robin's obviously Ballygunner man. So yeah, I'd say that's where it stops.
Did you ever see anyone hit a hole in one? I have to say I played a Coola Classic there a year and a half ago, and one of the lads, I'm not even going to give him credit by saying his name, but I saw him hit a hole in one. It was unbelievable, but it was devastating as well.
I tell you, we actually in our own Ballygunner Golf Classic this year. My godchild actually, he's 17 there now. He's coming out of minor there, so he would have been playing the Ballygunner minor team this year. But he had never picked up a golf club in his life, and I was on the second hole in fake leg, and he was on the third, so I could see it. And he hit a shot in first full round of golf, and sure, a hole in one he got. So I don't know how it'll never happen again, anyways. But it's frustrating because you're playing, hours and hours of golf year on year, and you don't get near it, and all of a sudden this fella rocks up and puts one in the hole. But
are you going to give credit by calling out his name?
Carl O'Sullivan, yeah. So Rory, our selector on our senior team, is his son. So yeah, I don't think the other 17 holes, or he wouldn't talk too much about them. So,
well, look, if we talk about the hurling again, like you played Middleton before. I mean, and you've got probably a very tough kind of road if you're going to go and win Munster again. So Middleton, then the winners of the
Sarsfield's obviously Shane.
Yeah. Sorry, I got that wrong. Yeah, Sarsfield first. I actually have the thing in front of me here. So Sarsfield first, then the Pauric or Patrick's well, and then Killadang, Thurles or Clonlara in the final as well. Very, very tough. Like you had Middleton a few years ago, and they hadn't actually won Cork that time, but they still pushed you all the way. And I checked it out. You only scored 6 points from play that day, so they really pushed you.
Yeah, look, everyone knows the Cork Championship is ultra competitive. And I suppose the way it's kind of gone, like they've probably been putting so much into the Cork Championship to win that over the last number of years, the winners, that they probably haven't progressed like they would like to in Munster. And even look at the game last year, obviously the Ballyea game and St. Finbarr's, like obviously with the sending off that day for Finbarr's, you don't know how that game would have gone. So we've obviously played SARS a number of times over the last couple of years in challenge games, and we know a lot of them from college, in UCC as well. So like they're a serious outfit, and I think if they were in other counties, maybe they probably would have a lot more county titles to their name. So in the last number of years with the caliber of players that they have in their squad, so we're certainly going to have to be at our utmost best if we're going to progress.
And do you know how many teams have done the Munster Club 3 in a row?
I didn't until about 20 minutes ago, yeah.
Zero. So that will be history.
Look, for us, it's like people say, us win 10 this year with the counties, like it's probably matters more to the older people in the club, like, and than us. When you're kind of playing, you're kind of caught up in day to day, and you're just focused on the next kind of game or the next competition. And maybe in years to come, we'll look back and say, oh yeah, they were nice to get them records or whatever. But right now, we're just focused on this Munster club, and if there's a record beside it at the end of it, well, happy days, I suppose. Yeah,
and like, has Dara kept together the same backroom team with the likes of Shawnee O'Donnell and so on?
Bits and bobs, like I suppose we've kind of, with his involvement with Limerick over the last couple of years, he hasn't really been involved with us, but he's able to do bits and bobs with us this year, so it's not too. We've had access to him this year, thank God. But yeah, like it's kind of, David Franks has been training us for the last number of years, and obviously David is, just a serious guy all around in everything he does, whether it's tactical, obviously from skills based as well, and constantly kind of changing things up, new ideas, keeping it fresh. And I suppose that's key really when you're on the road a while, and you have to kind of keep the energy in it. It has to kind of constantly challenge the players. But I think David and Shay Fitz work very well together from the S&C side as well. And Shay, again, like he's into his 70s now, and he's like better than ever. He's new ideas. He's constantly seeing him around his little iPad, and he's researching, the game. He's trying to, bring what he's doing and how it correlates into on the field in terms of once the ball is thrown in. So we're just very fortunate that we have the two guys kind of leading the way in that sense.
And how much of it, what you do, is just down to when you have the ball, doing the right thing at the right time, keeping your head up and not panicking?
Yeah, sure. I suppose it's like anything. You have to kind of play what's in front of you, and every game, I suppose, is different. And maybe we've been fortunate enough over the last couple of years, with in the Waterford Championship, we've kind of been exposed to everything. This year we had played teams with playing 8 defenders. We obviously playing 7 teams, playing maybe no one in the full forward line. Teams playing a third midfielder. So you're kind of exposed to everything, and you kind of learn how to deal with the different situations that are put in front of you. And I suppose from our side, of course, it's trying to make the right decision every time you're on the ball. That's obviously not going to happen every time, but if your intentions are right, you'll go a long way then to execute. So I suppose, it's just trying to, do what's best for the team.
Is there much of a difference in your sport, life balance since you left Waterford? I mean, I'm sure you get a huge amount of satisfaction out of playing with Ballygunner, but are you missing anything from Waterford, and how's the sport life balance?
I suppose, look, I had enough time when I was in there with Waterford for I'm not even sure how many years, but you kind of eventually it gets to the stage where you're kind of like, can I give everything that's needed to play into county hurling, or am I only going to be able to give 70% or 80%? And if you're at that stage, you're fooling yourself, you're fooling your teammates, you're fooling the management. And so for me, I suppose it was kind of, if I can't give 100%, I'm getting out of there. And, I suppose I've quite content with that decision now, looking back on, say, the last 12 months maybe, or 10 months maybe, since I made the decision, in terms of just the balance in general day to day. And it's not even that like a whole lot more stuff going on in my life or anything like that, but it's like even just being able to work your own schedule for maybe the first 4 or 5 months of this year, train when you want to train, go up and help out with the kids up in Ballygunner, so we'll train the minor team this year. And obviously I would have found that hugely rewarding as well. So just things like that, I suppose, you can kind of do, was previously you're kind of, it's 100% in and into county. It's, that's priority number 1, and everyone else falls second.
And do you think if Ballygunner weren't the high achieving team that they are, that you were you're able to get huge satisfaction out of that, I'm sure, because you're in a very good environment, like very professional team, the whole lot. Do you think if we were with a team that was maybe struggling at junior level, that you'd be able to make that decision the same way?
Probably not, to be fair. I think, obviously we're very fortunate.
That's the reason I ask you is I saw some lads step away from playing with Dublin.
Yeah.
But they never said it overtly. But I'm pretty sure a lot of it was down to the fact that, with that cooler team at that time, they were getting so much out of it that way that maybe didn't need the extra 10% or 20%, to get their fulfillment from hurling.
Yeah, probably. I would say it's definitely, I suppose, from our side in Ballygunner, obviously, when you're trying to, say, achieve the highest with your club, to say that you could do that for 12 months of the year, I don't think that's probably, and do it year on year, I don't think that's probably realistic. And, I suppose if I had one thing, if I changed anything over the last maybe 5 or 6 years, I would have probably, put my foot down and saying, when Central County was done, I need a 6-week break, and I'm taking it no matter what. And maybe if you don't that, okay, you might be consequences to it in terms of selection and whatnot, but at least you'd be going to train in the right frame of mind. You'd be fresh. You'd be hungry to kind of push yourself to the limit to try and maximize. Ultimately, I think you'd be benefiting for the team on the back of that. So, but obviously we didn't. Hindsight's a great thing, I suppose. But maybe it's just pushing the body for 12 months of the year consecutively for year on year. That's why you call it quits for, say, with inter-county season. Maybe sooner than people would think will be your kind of finishing time,
And when you see Austin Gleeson stepping away, and he's been there for many, many years, 2014 he made his debut, talked about maybe he could have stepped away last year. Do you, and you know him as well, obviously pretty well, were you surprised to see somebody of his stature step away? And I presume you just understand it.
Yeah, look, I think number one, I think Austin has done what's right for Austin, and I think that's very important. It definitely probably, and not just Austin. I think other people over the years have probably done it where they've put the team first, and that's kind of the way you're taught up and that's the way you're brought up to be is team first, and that's 100%. But when it comes to kind of if you're whether it's balancing your life or whether it's it's just consuming you 24/7, which to be fair to Austin with the heights that he has hit in his career, that like no matter what he does now, unless he's winning all stars or even further than that, or getting if he comes off the field and he's only after getting a certain amount of scores and play, teams are saying, "Oh, Austin's not performing," but he could be after doing a load of work in other areas on the pitch, or he could be after setting up a load of scores and whatnot. And he's probably one of the most heavily kind of scrutinized player as a result of his performances over the years. So I think he's done the right thing for himself, and obviously, hopefully now he can recharge the batteries, and we'll see him at some stage again, whether it's next year or the year after with Waterford.
Would you have watched all the Waterford games this past year? Like, were you, or did you switch off?
No, to be fair, I would have like a good few of the league games I would have gone to, and then obviously would have gone to all the championship games. And I suppose with Kevin being involved, you kind of had that bit of added interest as well, and seeing how he get on. So, but yeah, I have to say it was very much in the kind of supporter mindset, just kind of like anyone else who was around me in the stand, kind of just cheering on the lads and hoping that as much encouragement as possible. And obviously, my tickets that I would have been getting for the game would have been coming from my brother Kevin, so they would have been around all the families and whatnot. But I always my biggest fear was that when I go to games that I could be exposed to people criticizing players and whatnot on the pitch, and that how would they react in that situation, because you might hit defensive mode straight away, but thankfully I didn't hear anything negative last year, so hopefully it'll be the same now this year coming.
Yeah, and Kevin, of course, who played wing back and then back up to full forward, man of the match in the county final. Is this the first year? So you were giving him tickets for years, and now he's finally had a chance to repay the favour.
Yeah, I suppose it was actually, yeah, for sure. I suppose with Philip being there and Michael has been there for a couple of years too. So, but yeah, Kevin was the sole provider of the tickets this year, but I don't think he had too much involvement now. I think he passed it over to my sister, and she was distributing the tickets out and whatnot. So, but yeah, he's doing pretty well there.
Yeah, other than the Tipperary game, and I suppose for good parts of the Limerick game as well. Like, was it very frustrating to watch Waterford this year? And did you kind of like, for let's say someone who's not Waterford man, I couldn't figure out at times what Waterford were trying to do. What was it like for you?
Yeah, I suppose when you're up in the stand and you're looking down from a height, you can see everything that's happening, and you can see that Waterford are trying to play a game plan that maybe they're not necessarily comfortable with yet. And obviously, if Davey's going to stick by it, well, you'd like to think that they're a year more advanced with the game plan, and that players have become more comfortable with it, and obviously get more familiar with this different styles of play, and because with any new manager, it does take time to settle and I suppose embed into what he's trying to do. So hopefully this year now we'll see maybe another advancement to that, or we'll see that lads are able to execute the plan better for Davey, and that ultimately that, because like you said, obviously the Limerick game was there to be won, but they had to put themselves in the position to win that game, and they done that, and so there's a lot of positives taken of that, and obviously finished the season off very positively as well with the Tipperary game. So there's not a whole lot, like as we know, Munster Championship is so competitive. If you get out of Munster, all of a sudden the season can take off you. So I think that has to be Waterford's main goal next year, just get out of that Munster Championship, and because our record hasn't been good over the last number of years when it's been within the group stages.
So this is not like trying to tee you up to criticise Davy Fitz, but like when you look at Deise Hutchinson and maybe Patrick Fitzgerald, I know he's still young. Are those two lads good enough to play senior inter-county and make an impact playing in the full forward line? And I know Deise was moved out the field and all that, but those two lads seem as good as a pair as you could find to play inside forward.
Yeah, to be fair, I see it firsthand with the two lads, like you mentioned there, from a skill and technical aspect. They're as good as probably what's out there at the moment. But yeah, I suppose that's two players. You need 15, and you need probably at inter-county you probably need 23, 24 players, and I suppose Davey's probably trying to find a way that suits his full deck of players that he has at his disposal, and sometimes you just have to be able to adjust to that. And obviously, yeah, everyone would love to see perfect ball going in front of the lads and perfect ball going into Stevie Bennett and whatnot. But it's when you have teams with the likes of Limerick, and you have to try something different, I suppose, and that's ultimately what teams are trying to do. They're trying to find different ways to break them down, because if you go 15-on-15, you'll probably come out the wrong side of it. So, yeah, I suppose it'll be interesting to see, because I think every manager now is going away and they're probably trying to come up with new plans and new ideas to break down Limerick, and obviously they seem to keep developing and keep progressing on their style of play and how they approach it. So, yeah, look, it'll be an exciting year.
And I think Ballygunner could have a lot to say with an exciting year in the club. Like the prospect of games against Middleton or Na Piarsaigh, Kilmallock, Thurles, Ballyhale, all this sort of stuff as well. Like your games have been brilliant the last few years. But you just kind of feel like I felt watching you in Croke Park this past season against Ballyhale that it felt like you never fully got up to top gear. I don't know whether you put that down to Ballyhale yourselves, but it feels like we didn't see the very best of Ballyhale or Ballygunner in that game.
No, look, we didn't, and there's a couple of things feed into that too. I suppose number one is we're playing Ballyhale, and Ballyhale don't need any. We don't need to explain what they've done over the last number of years and the history that was within their club, but also this current team is, a serious team, and good teams stop other teams from playing, and they definitely set up very, very well that day to counteract Ballygunner's strengths, and we weren't ultimately able to respond when they did that. So yeah, a lot of learnings, a lot of soul searching, I suppose, over the last number of months. And I suppose, if you don't take learnings from it, you're not going to, if you do the same thing again, we're going to get the same results. So we're trying to advance and develop our game. And yeah, hopefully if we were in a situation like we're talking about that again, well then we're in a good place.
Okay, well look, great chatting to you, Pauric, and best of luck for the season ahead.
Cheers. Thanks, Shane.